Guys, you've been busy this week.
Putting out some content, baby.
Yeah. A nice little hobby pack. And Timmy, I got stuck on the crapper listening to your show. Made me late for court almost.
Did your legs go numb?
They did. You had quite the rant.
It's no cheeseburger rant, but
he's fired up. Man's fired up.
Oh, I can't wait to get to more of that. I don't know how to feel yet. I'm so conflicted. I'm in a glass case of emotion with it.
I still want to know where our cards are. These promised cards that are done. We don't have them.
Yeah. No, I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just defeated. Whatever.
On that note, let's start the show.
Yeah.
There's an Adam. Oh, it's a 101.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Back to the Future. I'm your host, Ricky, a.k.a. Mr. eBay. And I am joined by my co-host and partner in crime, Dr. Chad.
Someone call for a doctor?
How you doing, Doc?
I'm great.
And we're joined, as always, by the great, with that sexy baritone voice, Dr. Jim.
Here we go, baby. Prepare to be underwhelmed.
That execution was very underwhelming.
That was. This week it is Back to the Future Movie Club. Oh yeah. We are going to break down the Jack of all trades. It was on Tubi TV. You can still find it on Tubi TV if you are listening to this now and want to check it out first so you know what we're about to talk about. Feel free to pause now because we're about to jump into a breakdown of that movie documentary. And then later in the show, many thanks to Dr. Chad, we are going to have Stu Stone on the show.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to him. So it's going to be a fun show.
Yes.
Okay, so how do we want to set this up? Jack of All Trades is a documentary about this child actor turned adult now. He's about our age. I'd say his late 30s.
I think so.
And he's from Toronto. His father owns a baseball card shop, a very popular baseball card shop in Toronto in the 80s, 90s. And it's a documentary about his card collection. And he's hoping to make it rich. At least that's what it sets out to be.
Yep. I think we've all been there, right? Like we've all lived that experience.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
So I do have like a few notes of talking points to bring up that I took during while watching the movie.
Okay.
And the first one I wanted to jump into was...
Wait. Did people go get their popcorn and their treats?
Oh, yeah.
This movie, now you still have to have it when we go through the review.
Yep. Hit pause if you need to. Grab your snacks.
Sorry, I awkwardly interrupted that.
Your extra large soda.
Yes.
2 straws.
You got to have red vine straws.
Red vine straws, yes. So the first, and I don't have a ton of audio from the documentary, but I have 2 pieces. And this first note that I had was that at this moment in time, I thought this documentary might be staged. And that's when Stu and his sister and her kids go to the card show, the local card show, so that he can find out what his cards are worth. And let's just listen to the audio of what happened.
This is like going and scratching a lottery ticket that you know you're going to win. And it's just a matter of how much are you going to win. How do you get in?
I don't know. Not here. Keep going around. You guys excited? Noah, stop yawning.
I can't believe what happened next.
You ran over all the cards.
Yeah, I left them on the side of the street because I think that you're going to go and drive.
These boxes are salvageable.
And that's what we have to work with. My name is Adam Rodness, and I'm Stu's brother-in-law. The moment where the cards were on the ground, everything was everywhere, I was trying to remain as calm as humanly possible because I knew Stu was going to freak out. Carrie ran over the entire collection of baseball cards.
Okay, you never want to hear that your cards are salvageable. Like, that should not bring about a good sigh of relief. That is not what you want to hear.
Oh, and I lost it when they are, and you feel so bad. It's one of those things, you know, when someone slips on ice and gets hurt, you feel awful for him, but you can't help just losing it. I had to unhinge my jaw. I was laughing so hard. Oh, these boxes, like the box that holding all these complete sets, is just destroyed, just decimated.
You know what it looked like?
Awful.
It looked like when USPS runs over your card packages.
That looks like the packages that the UPS or the USPS leaves at my front door that I've played on here. They chuck it against the door and it falls down. I feel him. I feel that pain.
It was so funny. And it gets a lot funnier. It was too much audio to cut, but it gets even funnier because he confronts her and she's like, well, what do you want me to do? The kids needed a drink.
That's not the right answer, in my opinion. I'm not a man of very, as I'm demonstrating here, I'm not a man of words. I'm not a wordsmith, if you will. But I do know that was not right.
Now, the next note that I had was, I thought it was a really interesting sit down with Jose Canseco, in that he got Canseco to talk about the way that he feels about cards specifically, and the fact that they were likely in a rigged system, they were a scam, that these were prices created by the card manufacturers. All right, moving on to the next thought.
I thought you had an audio clip. You look down at the board like you're going to play a clip.
No audio for this one. I don't have any audio. Sorry, I don't have any other audio till the end.
Both Tim and I are waiting like, Ricky, hit this out.
Yeah, you look down. But
Sorry, I was looking at my next note.
wasn't that? I mean, it was just kind of surreal seeing Jose Canseco just sitting there. You know, he just seemed like a regular dude. Wasn't, you know, the Bash brother Jose Canseco. Wasn't like the roided out Jose, except for how he looked.
Right.
He was just another dude talking about cards.
And he seemed to know a decent amount about cards, right? Like, it wasn't foreign to him. He knew what was going on.
Yeah. And thanks to Jose Canseco and that interview, we met Foul Ball Paul.
Yep.
Now, if any of your wives at home are yelling at you about having too many baseball cards, you owe it to yourself to show them this documentary and show them Foul Ball Paul's collection and show them what it could be. But Foul Ball Paul was a super awesome guy, special needs guy living with his father. And you could tell just loves baseball cards. He said he had over 2 million cards and over 2,000 specific Jose Canseco cards.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's impressive.
And as Jose,
you can tell it means something to him too.
Yeah. And as Jose Canseco said, he's like, I didn't know I had 2,000 cards.
Yeah.
So
that was cool. He was a favorite of mine as well. That was a good moment.
Yeah. I also marked down the co-directors fighting with each other. Poor Stu. Stu gets in a fight with everyone. His sister runs over his baseball cards. His nephews talk smack to him after his sister runs over his baseball cards and tell him not to leave them in the street next time. And then the co-directors like just bickering over the direction of the documentary. And I thought that that Stu's co-director kind of stabbed him in the back a little. I think he thought he was acting in Stu's best interest. You could tell. I think it was well intentioned, but boy, I think Stu could have gotten a lot more angry than he did.
I think I would have, right? I mean, these were two different directions, and I didn't feel like, clearly I don't know the director or co-director rather,
right,
but it seemed very abrasive on the show, especially about a topic that clearly was difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with reason to be too. And that kind of had my jaw dropped. Like, oh my gosh, this is like Tim and I fighting, but this is on camera and this is really tough.
I almost pulled that audio and played it off as the two of you because it did. It sounded
that was a tough moment. It really was a tough moment, right? Like you could tell it probably tested their friendship.
Now I think we have to update the listeners of this at this point in the film. They go to this local card show and a vendor recognizes Stu because he knew his dad as Stu's dad owned the card shop. He stops the director and says, "Hey, I actually saw that Stu's dad." And we find out Stu's dad had left like 20 years prior. So sold his card shop in the 90s, up and left the family, never to be heard from again. This guy says, "Hey, I've seen Stu's dad here recently." And so the co-director decides to change the direction of the film and send it into Stu reconnecting with his father. And so it takes a really interesting twist in that direction. But then it maintains in the world of cards, within the world of the hobby. So they go and talk to a Topps employee. And what did you guys think of the King Griffey Jr. rookies printed in 1990?
There's no way they didn't just build the heck out of that card. I mean, despite all their arguments about how they didn't try to overproduce it, it's a bunch of BS. Everybody knows that card was readily available, and they knew they were onto something.
Yeah.
And the story seemed to be different, right, from each person that they asked. I'm not sure about which card and which company, but I just got the general sense that everyone else that they asked had a different opinion. Some people said nope. Other people said, well, yeah, it was like printing money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when you can't get a consistent story, raises a little flag for sure.
Right. I did think it was cool that they talked to the guy who snapped the photo, the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie. That was neat to see those photos. Did you guys catch Don West of Wild West Deals? It was that QVC guy that they were talking to. It was just for a brief period. That's the guy I was telling you guys about, or chat about. Pete Dialing. And you can find him on YouTube. I'll have to post some like on our Twitter account because he will just have these rants with baseball cards. And as you see in the documentary, he spills the cards everywhere.
That's your future.
Yeah. It looked like a Ricky's junk box. I got a Griffey rookie. I got a Griffey rookie.
Like on the floor naked, just bathing in his cards.
Mrs. eBay comes in at 3 a.m. Who are you talking to? And why are you naked?
Why do you have paper cuts on your nipples?
We may have to cut a Wild West eBay deals commercial.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
Carlos from Sluggers. So they go to a bigger card show and they find the man who his father had sold the card shop to. Now, this was an interesting dynamic because they were really worried that Carlos was going to be angry with them because it was their recollection their father may have screwed Carlos over. But Carlos couldn't have been kinder and more grateful. And Tim, you actually have a personal connection to Carlos, do you not?
Yeah, unbeknownst to me, I used to be a big part of the hockey groups on Facebook, and it stands to make a lot of sense that I bumped into a lot of guys in Toronto, and I had bumped into Carlos in these groups. I even met up with him at the National in Chicago, and we ripped a case of Upper Deck the Cup together. And he'd always pay from an account called Sluggers. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then after watching this movie, it just finally all clicked. And he's one of the most down-to-earth guys. Like the way his interaction in that little bit went, he wasn't lying about that. He wasn't faking that. That's him. It was really cool because you could have had a completely different response.
And to prove it, that Tim knew Carlos, Tim sent Ricky and I a picture of Carlos with 3 other completely random people and Tim not in the photo. So if that's not proof enough, I don't know what is.
But that wasn't enough for Tim. Tim was getting ready to backstab Stu yet again with a surprise reappearance from Carlos when we hadn't talked about it at all. Tim!
Like starting fights. That's what Chad said off there.
You just proved it, Timothy.
Okay, so the cool thing about this documentary, for at least from my perspective, is I hate and I think those of you that with wives can probably attest, they love murder mystery documentaries and shows and How to Kill Your Husband shows and crime dramas. And so some of these documentaries that my wife will suck me into never has an ending. This one does. Stu reconnects with his father and they sit down and they talk. And it's heartbreaking, man. It just, to hear Stu just pouring out his heart to his dad. And I do have a clip of that this just gutted me.
You know, I would like for you to be a part of our lives. I wish that
I
wish that
I'll
you would
the
try
best
a
I
little
can.
harder.
I didn't expect to have 6 kids.
I mean, like, can you imagine laying your heart out and just getting a response like that? And you could tell his dad's not good with emotions. But my heart just broke for Stu in that moment. I mean, in some respects, you're happy that he's reconnected with his dad. In others, you're just heartbroken for him.
Yeah, to not even have that relationship growing up and then to just kind of get thrust into this situation where, hey, my dad showed back up. Let's go say hi because it's good for a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, the tears welling up on both sides. It was a tough moment. It's actually something I can relate to pretty well. I don't have the greatest relationship with my dad. And I think the conversation actually would go pretty similarly as far as, hey, you know, I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine like the surge of emotions going through his head at that point.
Well, and I've got to,
yeah, go ahead.
I just was going to say, I've got to give Stu a lot of credit. He still accepted that. I think that he had an understanding that his father just couldn't express himself the way he may have felt.
Yeah.
And to Stu's credit, he then turns the moment into a happy moment and they open some cards together and have a chat. And that kind of ends the documentary with a couple other cool clips and interviews in between. But what would you guys, Chad, Tim, what on a scale of Tim's PSA 6 to Gem Mint 10, what would you rate this documentary?
I put it at like a 7 to 8.
Okay.
It was a little rough around the edges, but you know, the centering and the topic was good. The little defects as far as how life and family really is. Yeah.
All right. I think I'm going to give it a solid 9. I wish that, and I hope that this will inspire future documentaries around the hobby. I would love to see more of those. Maybe a glimpse at PSA, how it's done or what they can show, or tops or upper deck. I'm mad that this existed for as long as it did and we didn't know about it. It was not what I expected it to be, but I still found it fulfilling that it took you on a journey and had a completion to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many stories with this hobby, and the connection over cards. It's cool to hear about every time, you know, because it brings together people who might not otherwise have stuff together in common. It brings together, you know, yeah, I mean, just in this case, family members that had nothing else that really, you know, helped them relate to each other with. And
yeah,
this is junk era wax.
Chad, what was your grade?
I'm with you. I give it a 9. I don't know that I have anything to add that you guys haven't already said. Yeah, the story overall was very tough to take a turn because you could see Stu going through emotions that were very difficult. And I think that we would all have the similar type reaction had that happened. But the card collector in me at the end wanted him to find a gem.
Yes.
Find a hidden gem in his collection,
Yeah.
just to salvage that card, you know, unity with the show. So that was my only bummer for Stu, but maybe he's got one. We're going to talk to him coming up.
Yeah, we are on the other side of this break. We'll be right back after this. Hi, this is Ricky. That's right, Mr. eBay, here to give you a little advice to up your basketball card game. Basketball Card Fanatic is a monthly digital magazine chock full of basketball card information and interesting interviews with the hobby's greatest collectors. For just $10 an issue or $100 per year, you too can become a smarter, happier, long-term basketball card collector. So what are you waiting for? Reach out to Adam at Basketball Card Fanatic and The Real 27 Guy on Instagram. You won't regret it. All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. Guys, we are joined this segment by star and director of Jack of All Trades, Stu Stone. Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And thank you for listening to the Howard Stern Show and going on to Tubi.
I was telling Stu off air that I had caught this wind of this documentary when it was mentioned on Howard Stern recently. And so we've been telling our listeners to go check it out. We've been talking about it this week's episode. We really, really enjoyed the documentary. I want to first start out and say, and for those that we've been pounding you over the head with it, but go check it out on Tubi TV. It's a fascinating documentary. I want to just run down a few of the notes that I had.
Oh, wait, before you do that,
yeah,
I do want to say that JD, who was the one that shouted it out on the Howard Stern Show.
It was JD.
I've been talking to JD since then.
Oh, really?
And he is definitely like a collector. And, he's definitely like we've exchanged information and we've gone back and forth. And, I made a new buddy thanks to the hobby and thanks to
Nice. Yeah,
that's
what it's all about.
So JD is cool, man. He after he mentioned it on the show, obviously a number of people hit me up, and I'm a Stern guy anyway.
Yeah.
But they're like, holy shit, they talked about it on Stern, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then we contacted each other on Instagram, and we started talking, and yeah, he's definitely into the hobby, and he's a cool dude.
Well, and I think of the three of us, I'm the only regular Stern listener, but I was super excited because they were talking about the hobby for
Howard rags on JD for collecting cards
for breaks.
Yeah.
And we do the same with Tim here, who does.
Oh, Jim's a breaker.
Tim. Tim, you're a breaker. Oh yeah.
I tried for a minute. I'm mostly the guy who funds everybody else's hits in a break.
One of those. You got to go on those ones with the skunk proof or whatever. What do they call it?
Yeah, exactly.
But I wanted to jump into this your documentary, and get some of your thoughts on some of the notes I took. Can you tell us a little bit more about your sister running over your baseball cards?
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's funny because people who watch the movie, like a certain fraction of the audience, thought they're like, oh, that's not real. Like they set that up. She didn't run that over. The honest to God's truth, you can't make that up. She literally ran the cards over. Part of my language.
No.
But in the original cut of the film, that was like a 20-minute scene. Like it got cut down to like a 3-minute scene. But like we had a blowout. It was terrible. She basically, like, we got to this card show, and we didn't have permission to film in the card show. So I wanted to go ahead and see what's there to know if we have to bring a light or like what, like, cause I want to film, I'm making a movie. So I just wanted to like peek my head in before we went in, just to be like, hey, is it okay if we bring cameras or send someone ahead, sort of, so that they don't just like cut us off when we walk in the place. Right. So I take the box of cards and I just put it down next to the car, and I'm like, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. So I go ahead with, I guess it was my brother-in-law. I don't remember now. Not so long, but her kids like wanted something to drink or something to eat, and like she got in a fight with my brother-in-law in the parking lot because he's like, just wait. Stu said to wait, and she didn't want to wait, so she got in the car and she like backed up and drove over the case of cards. So the very case that I was saving for 20 years or whatever it was got run over by the cards. So before I even took them in to get valued, or I guess that's the word I would look, the value.
Yeah.
They were already run over by a car, and guess what? It didn't really affect the value. Now, fast forward to today.
That's the saving grace.
Fast forward to today, and maybe she actually ran over some good stuff, because since the movie has come out, the bubble is back.
Right.
Cards are hotter than ever, and all of the people who are 35 to 55 who used to collect are collecting again. Yeah. It's not necessarily new collectors coming in, it's the old ones coming back. And it's definitely a different game than it was when we were kids, and it's definitely inspired me to shoot another movie. So we're definitely not done telling the story of baseball cards. I think the story of my father has definitely been told now, but the story of baseball cards is definitely, there's way more to explore than I was allowed to, because as you know, if you've seen the movie goes in a sort of different direction at a certain point.
Right.
And that became such a powerful thing that it kind of made sense to lean on that, because people, it's not just a baseball card movie anymore. It's like this other thing.
Right.
And I don't know if we would have been on Netflix if it wasn't for that angle, I guess you could call it. But there's a lot more to the baseball card story to be told, and certainly since our movie has come out, and since guys like Gary Vee have entered the space, and since stimulus checks have been given out, there's obviously a big, it's happening again.
Yeah. I think
funny thing is, though, sorry, I just want to say one last thing. The funny thing is, nothing that I uncovered in my film has changed, but the values go up. So it's not like I was wrong about what I uncovered. Like,
right.
None of those facts have changed. And it's probably, I'm just scratching the surface in this movie of what is probably the reality.
Oh yeah.
I just looked at the Griffey Jr. So it's just really funny. It's interesting.
Yeah. I
don't know what to say. I still love it. I'm a sick person. I love baseball cards, and there's nothing anyone can say to me that will make me think they're not amazing.
Well, good. I'm so glad you feel that way, because we do have a couple hobby related questions for you. But what I think your documentary turned out to be was something that both people in the hobby, which are predominantly male, can watch with their wives. I sat down, watched it with my wife. We both had a great time watching it. There was something for each of us. And that we both found riveting. But I turned to my wife as soon as that scene hit, and I said, there's no way this thing's real.
Yeah.
It was clear that it was very real, the documentary, but in that moment I absolutely had that.
Yeah, you can't even plan certain things like that. It's like the film, it's like almost like the term, the film gods, is a real thing, because like we're here making this documentary, and stuff like that's happening. Not to mention my father showing up after like being out of the picture for 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an accident.
Right.
I mean, it's like, how does that happen?
Right.
So it's like, stuff that you don't plan ends up being, how can you plan an active documentary? It's not like I'm doing a documentary. I was doing a documentary that has an active story.
Yeah.
I wasn't like just looking back and doing like talking heads, like, oh, baseball cards were invented in it wasn't like they'd had some of that in it.
Right.
But it was an active sort of story of like, I bet you a lot of people, well, now it's different, but 2 years ago, people were going in their closet, finding their cards, getting excited, and being extremely disappointed.
Yep.
Now, all of those people are probably kicking themselves because, obviously we've all seen what's happened. But it's pretty crazy. When I was filming that movie, I was going to card shows. They were dead. I was like,
yeah.
I wanted to buy up like 85 tops. Wax boxes were like $60, $70. I was like, I wanted to buy all the old wax, and people were telling me I'm crazy. Like, are you not watching your movie? Like, why are you buying that stuff? Yeah. And I'm like, because wax is rare. Yeah. Like, people did open the packs. Like, that is rare. It's like, there's certain things that are good.
Yeah, it was crazy the first show you went to and how small it was. It reminded me of like a old wrestling hall. I think you even say it in there.
The Wrestler, yeah.
And I've got to, speaking of the Wrestler, I've got to ask, or Chad is going to kill me. You got to tell us the story behind you and Ric Flair.
Well, I actually have a couple Ric Flair things.
Oh, Chad's about to remove his pants.
No, I'm definitely, obviously I'm a Ric Flair guy too. We all are. a certain generation. If you love baseball cards, you probably love Ric Flair.
That's true.
I was working as a sort of a creative producer, we'll say, in like reality television for VH, like working alongside like MTV, VH1, these types of places, like the production companies that would get their show sold, bring a guy like me on to sort of let's figure out what we could do with this show. So one of the shows that was being pitched was, I've never told this story before. It was a show, I think, I forget what the title was, but it was Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. And it was a reality show where the two of them are going to get into they're sort of like trying to outdo each other. Like they dare each other to do things. And it's like each week they go to a new place and like Roddy and Rick are sort of like Kenny versus Spenny.
I
Roddy
would
Piper and Ric Flair.
Take all my money. I would pay anything.
So I got to go and pitch to like all the networks, like for a couple of days. Like it was me, Piper, and Flair going to all the networks, and I'm like with them in the room. And you know, Flair is a character. He is very much who he is him. You know, he was in the room in the third meeting we went to go pitch. Like Flair had started telling some pretty wild stories in the room that like probably like they're great stories, but they're not like pitch meeting stories. And so it got to the end and they were like, yo, Rick, we love it. Like next, you know, Piper was getting mad. He was like, dude, you're like, come on, man, take it down a notch, take it down an H. And then we get into the last one, and sure enough, like Flair goes into this like incredible story about like him and Steamboat. It's like, you know, it's like, it's just like, the show never got made, but I had an incredible time, you know, that week where it felt like it was about to happen. So that was quite an adventure.
So did you?
So I've got to spend some time with Flair, obviously.
Did you create that show?
I didn't necessarily create the show, but they had an idea to do a show with Flair and Piper, and I came up with, what are we gonna do? What are they gonna do every week?
Oh man,
you know, it's like what can you do with Piper and Flair?
I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. It was pretty. It seemed, you know, we pitched it to all the networks, and it didn't sell, but close call.
Yeah.
Wow.
Getting back to your documentary, how is your relationship with Harvey, your co-director?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny because there was a good period. We shot that movie in like a few years ago now.
Right.
So there was like a little period of where me and Harv were not even talking at one point.
Right.
You know, it was a really tough project to do with him. And, you know, he's a very talented guy in his own right. He's a great director. He's a great creative, very creative guy.
Yeah.
But there was such a personal element to the movie that it was like really hard to separate what's entertainment and what's not entertainment, I guess. Is the best way to sort of put it.
Yeah.
And, you know, even in collaborating and making the movie while we were editing the movie, you know, there was a lot of fighting between me and Harv after the fact of stuff that like I wanted in and he didn't want in, and he wanted in and I didn't want in. And, you know, there was two cooks in the kitchen essentially. So you're like, it's sort of a combustible kitchen to begin with, no matter who you put in it. And then you have the subject matter, and then you have the fact that Harv and I grew up together. So he's not like some stranger.
Yeah. So
obviously we're still friends and we've made up and everything's cool. We've worked on a really cool project recently for AEW wrestling, and we had a great time. So, you know, Harv, it was hard to make that movie with him.
Yeah.
But I'll say that, you know, obviously everything happens for a reason. Well, so it's all good. It's all good that we did it. I'm just saying it's easy to look back now and be like, oh, okay, it was good. But like going through the journey of it, it was pretty intense.
Are you happy the way that it turned out with that final cut?
I think so. I mean, I think, you know, I know like that you know, in reality, if you haven't seen the movie, then you should probably pause this episode because we're about to spoil it. But in reality, I spent 2 hours with my dad, and, you know, you guys saw 15 minutes of it.
Right.
And that's the thing about making a documentary that's so tricky, because, you know, we have like, you know, 300 hours of footage and it turns into 85 minutes. So it's like, that's why you see scenes like running over the car and you're like, oh, was that real? It's because it's edited. It's like so edited that it feels like it's almost planned. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you watch the raw footage, you'll see very much that it's just like edited, you know. It's like the original version of the film that I had sort of like said, okay, here's the movie. It was actually like 20 something minutes longer, and it had more baseball card stuff in it. There was a whole thing on grading. There was a lot more on Beckett.
You've got to release that.
Yeah, there's a whole other storyline on another card in the Upper Deck set that like was part of the fire. There was a whole other thing about baseball cards. There was Billy Ripken stuff that we figured out about face card.
Yes,
but it was like the dad thing was playing so well with everybody who, you know, the buyers, they didn't care about the cards. They wanted the dad. So it's like choices have to be made, and you know, it turned out to be a better story. Listen, there's time for me to tell more baseball card stuff. I wouldn't be able to shoot the movie the way that it turned out now, obviously, because my dad is no longer with us.
Sure.
And you know, so the movie is a gift and is a blessing and a curse. It was the hardest thing I ever did. It definitely caused a lot of drama for me in my personal life, on screen and off screen.
Yeah.
You know, my mother didn't really know what the movie was until she saw it. She wasn't thrilled with me. You know, my sister had her own sort of, you know, everybody was sort of like brutally honest in the movie. And,
well, and I
feel
feel
it's hard. It's hard.
I feel
It's
like
hard.
you got sideswiped constantly by
Yeah.
derailed by your sister, by your co-director. And honestly, I think you handled it with a lot of grace, all things considered. I don't think any of us would have handled it any
You
better.
know, honest to God, if we were not filming a movie, I don't know that it would have even happened, because it's like at the same time, like these things are happening. Like I know that I'm making a movie, and I know that it'll be a much more interesting movie if I like see what the fuck's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I just didn't like the way that it was sort of they went about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the end, obviously I'm very happy that it happened. It was a blessing for sure. But you know, it's also very tough, guys. I mean, this is a guy that I did not really think about or talk about for like 20 years. I'm talking about my dad now.
Right.
Then we do this movie. Then it goes on Netflix. Then everybody's seen it. And now it's like I went from never talking about it or him to like only talking about it and him. And then the day after the Netflix deal sort of came to an end, he passes away.
Wow.
So it's just like really like tough, because he was back for a second. And I don't mean back like we weren't like kicking it. Like it wasn't like, I said, it wasn't like some Hollywood ending where we were just like, oh, we're cool now.
Yeah.
Like that did not happen. And it's sad. And then the times that I saw him after that was like in a hospital. It was like really not, it happened pretty quickly. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, if we end up releasing a second film, I'm sure like that will be maybe tackled in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But listen, a lot of people relate to the film because when you guys collected as a kid, chances are the person that brought you to that store was your dad.
Yep.
Fathers and sons, that's a father-son thing, collecting cards for the most part. I mean, you know, Tim looks kind of sad, so maybe not Tim.
You read the room well.
I always look sad. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like father and son thing. So people watching it immediately can relate to a father-son story. Now there's a whole lot of people, guys, sadly, that have contacted me since the movie came out that went through almost the same thing I did, where like their parents took off, or, you know, and so a lot of those people really were affected by the movie. And it's a scary, large demographic that's not as niche as it should be. There's a whole generation of our age that like had sort of weird broken home situations. Hopefully that's not the case for you guys, but it definitely is a larger number than you think. Yeah. And I got hundreds, if not thousands of messages from people that were like, I never got to do that. And I'm so, you know, it brought, God bless you, you know, like, thanks for doing that. You know, it's really, so on that level, it's pretty special. On the
and I'll tell you
cards though, it's like, you know, I like destroyed thousands of dollars worth of cards that I just to shoot a movie.
Yeah. But I will say on a positive note of this, it made me think back in a little bit of a transition, but in a similar note to tell you that you brought some joy to people out of this too, is it made me think of collecting with my sister when we were young.
That's great.
So my sister and I are back, like kind of buying a box or two here and there together that we're going to save up and open up, because it reminded me of that same type thing with my childhood. So know that it's not all people triggering back thinking of tough times. It's also
good times. No, for sure. But I also think that has contributed to what you're seeing right now. I mean, this movie, you saw it on Tubi. You guys are late to the party.
Yeah.
The movie was on Netflix, and it was a top trending movie for a long time. I don't know how the fuck you guys missed it.
It's because we have Ricky running the show.
Yeah, but it was on there. Like, you can't miss it. It was there.
Oh, we're such rubes.
You know, a lot of people saw that and had that nostalgia hit, seeing me look through my boxes, looking at the cards, Canseco and Griffey, and they wanted to go look for their stuff. And it sort of triggered a whole thing. Listen, the original boom in baseball cards that happened was in the 80s. And it happened because baby boomers were finding their old Mickey Mantles and finding out that they were worth a couple $1,000. And they were all started digging for their mantles. And it made them think of their childhood. And then they dragged their kids to the store, and their kids were marketed Jose Canseco and Ken Griffey Jr. And now you had an activity where you're bringing in the money guy, the father, to spend the real money, and you're selling 25-cent packs to the kids, right?
Yep.
That's what's happened now, almost to the T. You have people who are from our generation that want to go back and that are finding their Griffeys and their Cansecos and their Mattingleys or whatever you guys collect, your Kobe's, I don't know. They're finding their cards, their Charizards, and they're going back to the store. If now stores are back, and their kid is buying, but the packs aren't 25 cents anymore.
No, I wish.
So they've almost priced kids out of it.
Yeah.
And that might be a smart thing. I don't know if kids truly in this technological era will ever truly embrace cards. I think the people who collect them we might just be dealing with an aging. This is a hobby that's just going to age with us.
Yeah.
Valid concern. Yep.
Yes, it is.
I mean, these prices are not going to keep going up like this, are they?
You know, I saw a box of basketball today, which is a little bit separate, but directly on topic, that this year it's a Donruss product, and it was $900 at the card shop, whereas last year that same product was $180. And like, that's absurd. $900 for a box of 9 high-end cards. So I hope it doesn't keep going that way.
I mean, it seems like it's going to be. I mean, this is a bubble that we are in right now, a massive one. And like, maybe you guys should cash in on some stuff. I mean, let me know what you got. I can maybe help you. But,
we've been scourging our junk boxes, selling all sorts of stuff. We've been doing a lot of grading. And have you seen the latest news about PSA essentially doubling all of their grading prices?
I don't blame them. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are geniuses.
Yeah.
I mean, PSA and the guy, Baseball Card Exchange, these are geniuses.
Yes.
I mean, they're providing, like, especially the Baseball Card Exchange. I mean, that's like why didn't I think of that? Like, that's everybody. That's like the biggest, why didn't I think of it, $1 million idea. That is like, of course, like what it's like such an easy call to do that. And, that guy had the best vintage wax. Like, I would go to the conventions and his table was always the best one. Like, I actually spent money with him. The card show that we went to where I got the box of 86 Donruss that I opened with my dad, I got that from that guy's booth.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like,
that's cool.
He was already doing the cool stuff, but yeah, he was wrapping his own boxes, and then he started offering the service to other people. And look at it now. He's the official guy.
Yeah.
And God bless him. It's just like crazy that like your box is like either $60, but if it's wrapped by him, it's $600.
It's so crazy.
like, you know what I mean? I mean, that's obviously, I'm embellishing a little bit there, but
yeah,
it's pretty cool. It's pretty impressive that he's managed to do that. And I respect the hell out of him.
Right.
I just wish I thought of it.
Yeah.
Do you follow Top Shot at all?
I don't, but I know that like digital, explain something to me.
Tim?
Digital tokens. So
are you buying a digital token are you buying a digital token that is attached to a tangible item in this instance?
No, so the term is non-fungible token. So, it's literally not something you can touch or own physically, but it's tied to the blockchain technology where, there's a serial code or whatever you want to call it. Like,
and what is it that you're owning? A file?
Yeah. So kind of the creative way this has gone is, so Top Shot, for example, the basketball moment or highlight has its own, blockchain where anybody who owns it afterwards, gets their little, ledger record of it. That's very unique. So, for sure that you're the only one that owns that moment digitally. I
Now,
don't know.
when you say moment, it's like from the television broadcast?
Yeah, I mean, literally like an NBA highlight that you could go find on YouTube and clip down for yourself.
A 10-second highlight of LeBron.
It's like
dunking.
an assist or a dunk or turnover. Or,
Can you own that dunk?
Yeah.
And how do you make money off of it? Like someone can license it to put on their show?
No, so there's like serial numbers for these. There's out of 15,000. There's like out of 1,500. There's
so
really
it's just
rare
trading
ones.
and selling.
And
right?
people will pay for like the jersey number too. Yeah, I mean it's trading and selling just like an open market.
Trading and selling YouTube clips that they've stamped one of one.
I don't get it. I don't understand that.
But it's not going anywhere. I mean, there's so many applications of it. That's going to be the future for kids. I think. You mentioned that.
Well,
like.
Well,
No,
Tim,
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
We're gonna stop with that for now because we're gonna murder you next segment.
That's fine.
Top shot. I have two more questions for you, Stu.
Wait. I just need to. Can I at least comment on what he just explained?
Oh, absolutely.
Jeez, man.
I think Stu's my new best friend.
That's depressing. You know what? It's depressing, and also, it's like now I'm becoming like the old man on the porch or something. Like, these kids today with their NFTs. It's like
you're telling a whole generation to get off your digital lawn.
Yeah, get off my digital lawn.
You'd be shocked at the prices they sell for, though.
I'm not shocked at all. I see what's going on with Bitcoin. It's like a frenzy with. Everyone's making money off something. I'm the only one that's just watching it instead of being a part of it.
No, you're not the only one.
No, I'm with you.
Two questions for you.
Yeah.
I thought it was super cool, and I'm sure my guys agree with me that you got Foul Ball Paul his own card.
Yeah, I could get you guys a Foul Ball Paul card. I've got a few.
Oh yes,
that would be
if you
awesome.
would send one to us, that'd be incredible. We'll send you.
Yeah, I might even have one here. I can look for it.
Oh man, if we had,
I might have one here. I don't know. I'll have to look.
All right.
But otherwise, when I get back to Toronto, I'll be happy to send you guys.
Thank you.
Your own Foul Ball Paul card.
Yeah,
and that's a rare card.
Yes. And do you still ever talk to Paul?
He texted me at 3 a.m. yesterday. Paul, that's not a lie. Paul keeps in touch. And good on him.
Oh,
a little Foul Ball Paul update for you. He moved from Las Vegas.
Oh,
he moved to Idaho. Maybe I'll visit him in the sequel.
There you go.
It took them like 6 or 7 moving trucks to move his baseball cards from Las Vegas.
His dad is so sweet.
Yeah,
what a kind guy.
He's got 300,000 cards, or sorry, 300,000 autograph cards, and he has something like 4 million baseball cards now. And he moved to Idaho, and the house is all baseball cards. And now apparently ESPN reached out to him, and they want to shoot a show where Foul Ball Paul is going to try to be a bat boy for like different teams.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's going to go. I don't know if that's going to go through or not. But he told me last night. He messaged me at 3 a.m. telling me that he's going to spring training in Tucson to try to be a bat boy for a major league team.
Oh, that's really cool.
That is really awesome.
So the movie definitely, and he was on the cover of Sports Collectors Digest. Paul has become sort of a baseball card celebrity.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I loved learning about Paul and his collection. I got to ask you, what happened to the 13 boxes still at your mom's home?
Those are still in existence.
Have you gone through them yet? Like, have you gone through to think about grading them?
I haven't gone through any of it. And the truth is, and this is, I swear to you, the truth, the first box that I opened, or there's a couple boxes that I opened. One of them had mold in the box. And I actually got like sick from the mold to the point where it's like, I'm afraid to open up the other boxes because they were like sitting in a basement for like 20 years. So there was like mold in one of the boxes. Also, here's a crazy fun fact. You guys are, if you've watched me, like there's an old video of my bar mitzvah, which is like a birthday party for a 13-year-old Jewish kid. And I had this, it's like a quinceañera or a communion, whatever you want to call it. This is the Jewish version. And so the video, that bar mitzvah video was in one of those boxes. So we actually made that whole movie without that bar mitzvah even being a part of the plan.
Oh,
so
really?
Like finding that video was in the box.
Oh, wow.
It was
like VHS tape.
And I didn't realize it until 6 months later. We were like, what is on this tape? bar mitzvah.
That's cool. The part where you're interviewing that guy and you asked him why that girl was with him and he said money. I play that to my wife. I'm like, honey, look, this is the reason you're with me. No, I'm just kidding.
That guy's like a baseball card big shot too now. Like pretty crazy.
Wow.
His name's Brian Price. Look him up. He started that in the game. At one time he owned Parker's hockey cards with my dad, but he's a big shot. But yeah, that was what it was. My bar mitzvah had all baseball card heavyweights were at the tables. Like, it's like it was like that was the business, the family business.
Wow.
So it's like you had like the guy from O-Pee-Chee and Fleer or whatever, like they're all there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Crazy.
Well, Stu, thanks for sitting down and chatting with us for a little bit.
I think we just scratched the surface here, so maybe we'll have to do this again.
Oh, absolutely.
We'd love to.
Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully people are good luck with your collections. Watch out for those breaks.
Yes, they do. You could find Stu Stone on Instagram at Stu Stone, STU Stone.
Yeah. Right.
What else? Anything else we could plug for you?
Sure. I mean, we have a new film that's going to be coming out in the US in the next couple months. It's called Faking a Murderer.
Okay.
It's completely different than Jack of All Trades. But the style of it was inspired. I was inspired to make the film based on my experience doing Jack of All Trades.
Okay.
So it's definitely a really funny one. And it's a more traditional kind of movie that I'd like to make. And I got an opportunity to make it because of the success of Jack of All Trades. So thanks to the people that watched that and support that. Obviously, it is on Tubi, like the guys here watched it. And the new one is going to be coming out, so look out for it. It's called Faking a Murderer. Hopefully you guys will support that. I don't know where it's coming out yet. I just know that we just got an offer for it like yesterday.
Okay. Stay tuned, and we will definitely have you back on. Thank you again to Stu Stone. We'll be right back.
Nice talking to you guys. Peace.
After this. Hi, this is Tim from the Pack to the Future podcast.
What? No, it's not.
Ricky and Chad asked me to talk to you about Card Ladder. So today I'm going to tell you about
the Pack to the Future voicemail line.
Give the guys a call and leave them a voicemail, and you might find yourself featured on a future episode of our show. The number is 801-893-1609. So what are you waiting for? Start dialing today.
Get off my mic, Ricky.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. You can find us on our Instagram at Pack to the Future Podcast or email us at packtothefuturepodcast@gmail.com. Tim.
Yeah, Ricky.
Tell us about your latest attempt at a purchase.
Oh, geez. You mean my failure? Stupid Top Shot. It's obviously gotten way too popular already. Like total of 230 million or some ungodly number that's been spent on it. So I was like, well, okay, I'll try to jump in on this. And it's a digital queue. So taking a step back, the big deal about NBA Top Shot are their pack releases. They're in beta, so they're still in testing phase of these releases. So they'll drop on Reddit or elsewhere in their emails that they're going to release one of these new packs of digital moments, NBA highlight moments. And I knew ahead of time that it was like a Tuesday at 9 a.m., ended up being pushed back to like a Friday at 11 a.m., whatever it was. All you had to do was get in the queue. That's all you needed to do is show up and get in line. And they randomize every single spot that showed up in that waiting room or queue beforehand. So anybody had a chance to actually get one of these or get the right to buy one of these. There was only 11,500-ish available as far as the packs that they were going to release. These were their higher end, nicer legendary packs that have 6 common highlights, 3 rare ones, and then the 1 really rare legendary ones. So it was worth trying to get one because they sell for thousands of dollars if you get the nice ones. I randomized to spot 83,150 something, and there was only 11,500. So you can kind of do the math there and realize that I didn't get one.
How much are they?
So I tried. They way undercharged, I think. They were only $99. So their common ones are $9. These were $99. I honestly think that they could have charged like $2.99 or even like $9.99 and they would have all sold out.
Tim, just like I told you off air, I hate the way you do things.
I didn't do anything.
$99
I failed. I utterly failed.
For a YouTube clip?
I don't know. I mean, you get 9 clips, so it's like $10 a clip.
Let me summarize this part of the segment. Tim thinks Top Shot is underpriced.
It is. No, Chad, screw you. Go to NBATopShot.com, scroll through, and try to buy one of those.
No,
You take
I
your
will do no
$99
such thing.
and realize
I'm
that
going to go to YouTube.
Nowhere.
I'm going to go to YouTube and watch every clip I ever dreamed of for free 99.
That's fine. That's fine. You know, none
Without
of
a
those clips are
cue.
serial numbered. They're not serial numbered. You can't have a LeBron James highlight that's 23 out of 999 or 5,099.
You don't have anything. It's on a computer.
Yeah, no, but you have
You
that
literally
unique
never
moment.
touch
You
this
have
thing.
The rights. You have the NBA rights to that one little moment. It's yours, and you can buy and sell it like a stock. And some of these go for like $100,000. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The cheapest
ridiculous
one.
Is
cheapest
right.
one is like a Josh Richardson, rebound, and you have to pay like $2,000 for something like that.
And what am I going to do with that?
Nothing. You're gonna flip it.
That?
You're gonna flip it in 2 months and retire on a beach. Some idiot out there who wants to own that.
An idiot is right, but this is so dumb.
No, well, what you want to know what's dumb is Cryptopunk'd. So this last week, this took off too.
Did you just swear at me?
No, I said Cryptopunk'd. Cryptopunk'd. There's nothing to bleep. We are not an explicit show.
I don't even know what you just said.
It's a family show.
No. So 2017, they released 10,000 of these 8-bit pictures that were generated randomly. They're all tied to a blockchain that's unique to them. So they're unique art. There's literally only one copy of these each. They were free at the time. And the most rare version of it that has only one version of it that's an alien sold for $762,000 in just last month.
People have too much money.
Yeah, this is for like a digital avatar, digital token, digital art, whatever you want to call it. But this isn't going anywhere, guys. Like we've been making fun of it for a long time. We've been scratching our heads. We're still scratching our heads, and it's not going anywhere. It's picking up steam. Like all of these applications of blockchain technology where you can literally track every sale, every ownership, every purchase of one of these digital tokens. People somehow really like that idea that you can't fake it. You know exactly where it's been. It's unique.
Where it's been, it doesn't exist.
I got no argument to that. I mean, it exists on thousands of computers and databases and servers all around the world.
Oh, it's porn.
Tim,
is that what's next?
No.
Oh. So what stopped me on the whole, to go back to Top Shot for just a second, what stopped me on it was, it says you, as Tim mentioned in his argument to Chad, you own the NBA licensed rights to that clip. And I had the same question as Stu in the last segment, and Tim answered, which is you do not get royalties if ESPN SportsCenter wants to use it in their top 10 greatest dunks.
Which would be really cool. That would be super cool.
At first,
that would get me.
Right. I
agree.
When I first heard Tim's argument leads you to think that might be what it is. It's not.
Nope.com.
Yep. And so then I think, okay, well, on this website with this website's game pieces, because that's what they are, you can only, there's one of each one. So I guess you're unique. You get to hold it. They're the only one the NBA is officially licensing, yada, yada, whatever. No, that LeBron James dunk on Steph Curry, there's a 1 of 1 of it. And all it is just marked 1 of 1. There's a 50 out of 50 of it. So there are 50. And then there are the stock ones that are made in the thousands. And the only difference is that it's somehow stamped digitally.
That's a digital serial number, which honestly, I just don't get. That's stupid.
Yeah, they were explaining it. I watched a review of it. They were explaining it that it's the same as serial numbers for cards. So even if you get the regular one at the cheapest $1,
Yeah.
and you get the jersey number, you're going to sell it for millions or thousands.
Exactly. It's so ridiculous. Or like, serial number 1, or like, 14,999 out of 14,999. So you can call it an eBay 101. I mean, there's people that actually pay a premium for the number on a serial. Yeah. The serial number on a digital moment. I can't wrap my head around that part of it at all.
And for the record, just to close up, I know that I'm being ridiculous on this. I know that there's people who buy this who look at sports cards the same way. Like I fully understand it. Like, it's just beyond my comprehension because I have not been involved with it. Flash forward 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be buying Top Shot, I'm sure.
I'm going to be judging both of you if that's the case, but right now I'm just judging Tim. I don't understand it because it's not something you can hold. A card, at least I can hold. I can hold. I can sniff my Piazza's jockstrap if I want.
Ricky, no.
I got it in a patch card and I can sniff it.
But Ricky, Tim can't hold it anyway because he didn't get one.
Yeah,
true.
I have nothing. I can't even throw it in the trash. I can't click delete on it.
I can just see a very dramatic Instagram post of a screenshot dragging it to the trash and click.
Chad and I have a friend, Ash, and when we would play NCAA football with him, he would like bench his best star receiver in the game if he missed a catch, a wide open catch. And it's like, you idiot, you just took out like your best thing. That's exactly what Tim would do. He would get Top Shot and start just clicking delete when he got angry. All right, guys. Well, it's been another fun show. For Chad and Tim, I'm Ricky, the Stu Stone, wishing all of you a one-of-one night. Go ahead.
All right. So I went to the National. You know what? Let's not record it.
Okay.